Hello, everybody. Welcome to our fourth webinar on Microsoft 365 Copilot for all-around extending Copilot. We're thrilled to be here with all of you, so thank you so much for joining and being with us here today. Please note that we are recording this session and it will be available upon request at the end of the session. Before we dive in, I would like to go over the agenda for today. We'll cover some quick introductions, and then I'll give a recap of how M365 Copilot works, just to make sure that we're all on the same level and up to speed. No matter where you are on your Copilot journey, if this is your first webinar with us or your fourth, then we'll talk about how we can understand its value before I pass the mic over to my lovely colleagues to discuss extensibility, connectors, plugins, Copilot Studio, and much more. We'll also leave time at the end for questions, but please do use the chat Q&A to drop questions there. We'll go through them at the end of the session. My name is Kellen McLeod. I am an adoption change management consultant with Valorem Reply Modern Work. I'm focused on the people side of change, and Copilot is really one of those tools that benefits from in-depth training and engagement. Today, I am joined here by some amazing folks from both Reply and Microsoft, and I'll pass the mic over to Jose to introduce himself.
Thanks, Kellen, and hello, everyone. My name is Jose Navas. I am a cloud solution architect at Microsoft, and I've been here for 5 years. And the past 2 years, I've been helping large organizations adopt generative AI to boost productivity. And this has really become one of my passions. I've seen firsthand how that has transformed my productivity as well as that of my customers. So very excited to be here, and thanks again for inviting us here. Pass it over to Karen.
Thanks, Jose. Hi, everybody. My name is Karen Skapski. I'm also a cloud solution architect at Microsoft, and I work on the partner-facing side. So I've just been at Microsoft for 8 months now, and prior to that, I was working for a Microsoft partner. My background is in technical implementation. So I've done a lot of migration work, a lot of intranet adoption and implementation projects. And so Copilot dovetails really nicely into a lot of the modern work initiatives that I've worked on, and I've loved seeing the impact of its transformation. So I'm excited to talk about it today with you.
Thank you, Karen. My name is Herman Stashinsky, and I am Microsoft 365 Senior Software Engineer here at Valorem Reply. I have a big passion about the custom code development, and today I'm going to talk through the technical deep dive of Copilot extensibility.
And my name is Alex Zakorin. I'm a senior technical consultant with Valorem Reply, and I will be presenting today topic of Copilot Studio. In the past 12 plus months, Copilot took everyone by storm, and everyone excited about the topic of Copilot. But extensibility it's extra interesting area where we're all passionate, and I will specifically focus on Power Platform and how Copilot Studio can extend functionality of Copilot by building custom agents. Back over to you, Kellen.
Thanks so much, Alex. Appreciate it. So a little bit about who we are at Valorem Reply Modern Work. We are a Microsoft partner with the M365 ecosystem at our heart. Whether we're working on SharePoint, Teams, the Power Platform, Viva, and now Copilot, we truly are invested in what Microsoft can do to help your organization. We're a Microsoft Solutions partner receiving all 6 designations, and we've been lucky enough to have our hands on Copilot for quite a while now. We're also a part of the Global Reply Network with almost 200 consultancies across the globe, each with its own niche specialism, which means we have the eagerness of a small team, but also the backing of 15,000 folks globally who we can call upon for support in lots of other areas as well. So as I mentioned before, this is the last in our series of webinars about Microsoft 365 Copilot. If you missed the first 3 sessions, you can catch them on demand by using these links here. This presentation is live, so you can click on them directly on your screen. or you can visit the Valorem Reply YouTube channel where we keep all of those recordings. You can also keep up to date with all of our events monthly with our Copilot Newsroom series that is restarting in January. Very exciting event that we have been doing the past couple of months at valoremreply.com/events. Great, so let's quickly go over Microsoft 365 Copilot to give everybody a quick recap of what we have covered in previous sessions. So as you may already know, Copilot is the AI-powered work assistant that leverages natural language, large language models, and most importantly, your internal Microsoft data to drive efficiency in your daily tasks. But thanks to extensibility, we can now feed even more organization-specific information to Copilot and take it one step further and make it more specific to your organization. Whether we're looking at connecting data via graph connectors or extending Copilot to third-party apps via plugins, there are various points where we can bring in this data to personalize Copilot for your organization. And our experts on the call will discuss this in more detail later. So to look at this from a bird's eye view, this illustration depicts how it's all working behind the scenes. And I know it looks a little bit complicated, but I'm going to talk us through it. In your applications, just like Word, you may ask Copilot to, quote, generate an FAQ doc based on a file within project XYZ at your organization. First, it's going to shoot the prompt to the graph and semantic index for pre-processing and grounding. This is where it's doing research to answer the questions, what is Project XYZ? What's the organization that you work for? What's the context for this reference file? Who is requesting it? And what do you mean by FAQ? I want to call out the left-hand side of the diagram where we see those plugins or third-party apps at work. This data will enrich the output of Copilot, and this is that extensibility component that we're really going over and talking about today. It formulates this information from the graph and the plugins into a response for the large language model over here on the right. It then turns that data and tokens into natural language. It sends it back to the graph for post-processing, ensuring alignment of the response, validity of the information, and then gives it back to you, the requester, within the application that you asked or prompted it in. This process can really help expedite daily workflows just by heating up language prompts and details that you have provided. So we know that it's an inherently powerful tool and we know how it works in theory, but what does that mean for you and your organization? Understanding how to best leverage Copilot means also understanding its value. So at the end of the day, what we're seeing is that employees want generative AI tools to not only make their lives easier, but also to positively impact their work. In fact, according to the 2024 Annual Work Trend Index, 78% of AI users at companies are already bringing in their own AI tools, hence the BYO AI. But because they are bringing in their own tools that aren't necessarily secure, 52% of them are reluctant to tell leadership about it, and 43% of these users worry that they'll look replaceable. So what this tells us is that people are eager to use AI to help them in their work. It's vital that leaders start capitalizing on that eagerness while also increasing the security of the tools that people are using. We want to tap into that desire to use AI by offering employees access to education about Copilot, which is also data secure, so that they can stay safe in their searches and also obtain the necessary information and tools that they need to be successful in their job. So Copilot for M365 has advantages for user groups across any organization. On an individual level, summarizing Teams meetings and emails is a game-changing time saver. But as we look to maximize its value, it's important to start diving deeper into where specifically usage can be extended for optimal productivity at your organization. We can do this by analyzing role-specific tasks in certain departments needing to leverage AI. What's the data that they need to be able to access? We start by looking at what certain departments may benefit from, whether we need to incorporate third-party data or publish a low-code Copilot Studio solution to bring answers into the flow of work. these plugins can extend role-based processes and really streamline them. And then we can analyze org-wide value. We can ask, what other data or sources will help embed Copilot into more or all process workflows. This is where we start thinking about radically improving organizations as a whole and where extensibility can really take your business to the next level. So now that we've got a pretty good understanding of Copilot's value, I want to turn it over to our good friends, Jose and Karen from Microsoft, to speak more to these incredible extensibility opportunities.
Awesome. Let me take over. Okay, well, thanks, Kellen, and hello again, everyone. Together with my colleague Karen, we are going to dive deeper into Copilot extensibility. And I want to start with something that Kellen mentioned about organizations starting with discovering these individual efficiencies, right? Things like saving time drafting emails, and those are great. But as more users use Copilot and they use it for longer, organizations start redesigning their business processes, and often they need to integrate various other tools or platforms that are used on a daily basis. And that is where Copilot extensibility comes into the picture. It helps simplify the work by integrating multiple of these different platforms into one place, allowing them or users to interact with all these diverse platforms just using natural language. So our goal in this little section here is for us to show you how Copilot can become that single pane of glass for your daily work and how that radically changes your productivity. So Kellen also mentioned how Copilot is able to leverage information from large language models and your information from your company, even information from the web. And out of the box, Copilot can help you or ground responses to your prompts based on information that's stored and indexed in SharePoint, OneDrive. Think about Word documents, PowerPoint, Excel, etc., your mailbox. However, we all know that not all of the information resides on the Microsoft Cloud, and you have important information that's in other platforms that Copilot initially cannot have access to. But what if we could leverage that information that is in your CRM or your ERP system or in knowledge bases or ticketing systems and access all of that through natural language in Copilot? These are the integrations that elevate the value of Copilot from those individual efficiencies all the way to organization-wide efficiencies. And this is what radically impacts productivity and decision making. And to make this more clear, I want to share with you one of the stories for one of our customers, Air India. They came to us a while ago with an scenario that many of you might find relatable. This is about weekly meetings to discuss the rhythm of the business and make decisions. So imagine for 1 second that you're in these meetings where operation executives gather to analyze operations. And in these meetings, an executive could ask a question like, what's the reason of a an average delay from New Delhi being increased by 15% last week? This is the moment where the room fills up with anecdotal comments or factual statements, assumptions, and even flawed inferences. And after minutes or hours of discussions, decisions have to be made, some on the fly, not with the entire information, and other decisions have to be postponed for further analysis. If this sounds familiar to you in your own industry and environment, this is something that many of our customers go through. But after implementing a set of connectors, skills, and what we now call agents, Air India executives have flight performance information at their fingertips. And all of this through natural language using Copilot. In this screenshot right here, you see how an executive using Copilot is asking Copilot to use an external system where all of this flight performance information lives, and show him or her a table with the flights that had over 150 minutes of delay. Suddenly, executives have in the meeting have better information, they are better prepared for meetings, and they are armed with the data that they need to take action. And note that in nowhere here, they had to remember what's that other platform, what their credentials are, or where they can find all of this information, saving a lot of time and improving decision making. And because Copilot is conversational, it's not just about retrieving information. You can engage in a conversation and find those answers or those root causes for specific problems that you might be looking for. Or even Copilot can help you with follow-up or related tasks. In this screenshot here, we see how the executive is taking this further, asking Copilot to draft an email with this information and send it over to those managers at those airports and locations that are seeing these delays with some advice on how to minimize those risks. Now Copilot extensibility has led everyone at India to show better prepared for calls, and all their meetings are highly actionable and they are leading to more resolutions. So we've seen how Air India transformed the way they work, but let's define what is extensibility. And extensibility is a broad term that describes the methods that we have to make Copilot enabled to interact with other platforms in a secure way, in what we call agents. And this graph right here shows the concept in an easy way, right? If you see there's a left axis, a vertical axis, y-axis, and the horizontal axis for knowledge. And the first square represents the combinations of skills and knowledge that the large language model on itself possesses. So think about skills as the large language model ability to summarize content, and knowledge, all of that knowledge that has been part of the training of this large language model. When you go one square onto the middle square, this is the combination of skills and knowledge that Microsoft 365 Copilot has. Think about the skill Copilot has to create a presentation in PowerPoint through natural language or analyze data in Excel. And the knowledge would be the knowledge of documents and information stored on OneDrive and SharePoint, information you created or you have access to. But when this is not enough and you want to increase skills and knowledge, this is where we talked about agents. Think about a skill of an agent to take action for a user on an external ticketing system where you can update a ticket for a user just using natural language through Copilot, or the knowledge that you can provide Copilot access to when you are using connectors and ingesting and indexing information such as policies, HR policies that live on an external platform. And when it comes to these agents, you basically have two options. You either can use what we call declarative agents, which is basically tailoring Microsoft 365 Copilot to specific domain using connectors to ingest data, or plugins to allow Copilot to take action on other platforms and retrieve real-time data. If you don't want to use that same infrastructure of Copilot for Microsoft 365, but you want to use another custom large language model or orchestrator, that's where you would like to use a custom agent. So how do you know when to use what? If you just want to enable Copilot to use more data and take action on behalf of a user, declarative Copilot is your way, and here's where you will be using things like Copilot Studio, maybe the Teams toolkit using, I forgot our tool. I forgot. I'm seeing the logo, but I forgot the tool. But yeah, the more pro code side of things, you can keep it low code or pro code. If you are looking to use a custom orchestrator or a custom model, maybe you are in a very niche scenario where you need a large language model that's trained on specific field. That is where you're going to be using your custom engine agents. Here, likely you're going to be using also Copilot Studio. We're going to see a little bit of that later in the session. As well, yeah, Visual Studio Code. Thank you, Karen. So for just going back into it, for the clarity Copilot, you can be using Visual Studio Code. And going into the custom agent, likely you're going to be using Copilot Studio or Azure OpenAI. Now, to go a little deeper into what agents are, I'm going to pass it over to Karen to tell us a little bit more about agents. Karen, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Jose. All right. So what are agents and how do they work? Agents are your AI assistants that can help you optimize business processes and enhance productivity across all areas of your business. They're available in a wide array of capabilities, tools, and levels of complexity, just depending on your organization's needs. So there are a few key types of agents that span the spectrum of simple to advanced levels of complexity. So let's start with the least complex, retrieval. Retrieval agents are designed with specific instructions on how to behave, their personality, and their overall objectives. They follow predefined rules and guidelines set by the creators. Task agents are tightly connected to specific workflows or processes. They operate based on knowledge, skills, and rules-based automation. And their primary purpose is to automate repetitive tasks. And then finally, we have autonomous agents, which operate independently, dynamically planning and learning from the processes. They adapt to changing conditions and they make decisions without constant human intervention. With our growing marketplace of first and third-party Microsoft 365 agents, spanning across business function and industry, you can seamlessly bring the apps and tools that you need into Microsoft 365 Copilot or build them yourself in Copilot Studio. For our customers who are looking to build their own agents, Copilot Studio is your single-stop end-to-end tool that provides a complete lifecycle for designing, enhancing, and managing Copilots from a single pane of glass. Alex is going to dive deeper into it later, but I'd like to introduce the concepts of Copilot Studio and the Copilot Studio Agent Builder. Sorry, Alex and Herman are going to dive deeper later. So end users can build in the Copilot Studio Agent Builder, which is available in Microsoft 365 Copilot BizChat and SharePoint, while IT and developers can build in Copilot Studio itself. Now, you might think that creating an agent could be difficult, but it can actually be as simple as this. So let's take a look at how Copilot Studio Agent Builder works in this quick demo. And that is just one of the many ways that you can build agents for Microsoft 365 Copilot. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it back over for extensibility deep dive.
Thank you, Karen. All right. Yeah, so now I want to dive a little bit into more details about the custom code solutions for first-party Copilot extensibility. A lot happened over past 2 years in the extensibility tools landscape, and I think the best way to look into the those tools is by looking into the evolution of custom code extensibility solutions. So in 2023, we started with the first-party Copilot extensibility options, and we aware of the plugins and graph connectors. In the field of the custom engines, we were using the Azure AI Studio and Teams AI library. In 2024, we got a lot on top. So in the first-party Copilot experience, we got declarative agents and Type B or API plugins. And in the field of the custom engine, we got freshly rebranded Azure AI Foundry and what I'm mostly thrilled about, Microsoft 365 Agent SDK that was released recently. And I want to start by talking about Graph Connectors. Graph Connectors is a native way to implement extract, transform, load solution for your organizational Copilot retrieval augmented generation within Microsoft Semantic Index. You can build graph connectors from scratch by leveraging REST APIs or a gRPC-powered SDK, or you can select from existing Microsoft and third-party vendors solutions on a graph connector gallery. I know for those of you who is working with Copilot extensibility or learning Copilot extensibility, you saw pretty much the same diagram a lot, describing user prompting, grounding, and reasoning process. And I really wanted to bring this up here because it's showcasing how simple is retrieval augmented generation pattern implementation with the graph connectors. So at the bottom, you can see that we have graph connector defined here. And you don't need to worry about building your vector database. You don't need to worry about building actual text embedding, etc. You simply ingest in the data with the SDK and platform of your choice, and it will be available immediately upon indexing. Graph connectors are for a while with us and part of Microsoft Search, and that's why we benefit from a lot of features that are available as of today. First things first, it is security. So Graph Connectors has native document level access control list security mechanism backed with the Entra ID. So no matter what type of document, JSON or SQL table row you ingest into the Microsoft Search and Semantic Index, it will be protected with explicit list of user identities and security groups right within your organization. Semantic Index and Microsoft Search is autonomous. So as soon as data is ingested through Graph Connectors, it will be available and remain available and searchable within Graph Connectors, and don't need to worry about the high availability of your platform. Also, graph connectors are built in the platform agnostic manner, so you can easily start building your graph connector with the gRPC and REST powered injection endpoint. And the last but not least, as I said, graph connectors exist for a while in the Microsoft 365 landscape. So that's why Microsoft and the third-party vendors has a rich connectors gallery available for you to use with the minimum impact and minimum configuration. Next thing is plugins. Plugins essentially are building blocks of what Karen and Jose defined as agents. And on another hand, we know that we call them actions as well. And they are designed to interact with other external systems to read and write information in more or less real time. You can use plugins to, for example, access real-time information like airline schedule, or you can perform several actions across apps, such as creating the tickets in your organization's work tracking system like Azure DevOps or Jira. In the first round of release, we got plugins available through the message extensions. To give you a context, message extension is the third significant extensibility option for Microsoft Teams as a platform itself. And historically, they were not really popular because of the overall user experience. So now with the plugins, it is a real game changer. And let me just go through the benefits that you can get through that. So historically, we were building message extensions and message extension powered plugins through the Microsoft Bot framework. You'll benefit from the authentication and single sign-on support backed with the Entra ID. You'll have full control over dynamic rendering layout in a programmatic manner through the adaptive cards. As I said, message extension is part of the Microsoft Teams ecosystem, so you can start building your message extension powered plugin and continue to chain other Teams features like custom web pages and doing the handoff to another bot. The biggest disadvantage of Microsoft Bot Framework is that your developers need to be familiar with the bot framework and its concepts. But Microsoft got you covered here with the open API schema-powered message extensions. You'll benefit from having no Azure bot registration requirement, and this approach is platform agnostic. So as soon as your REST APIs will have open API schema generated, you can just upload your plugin into your organizational gallery. And just to understand how to improve results, I wanted to bring this orchestration and the planning workflow. So on the left-hand side, you see this diagram that describes how orchestration works in details. So when you prompt your plugin, you're prompting Copilot, Copilot service taking care of your prompt. It performs the reasoning, chunking it into the several intents. It maps those intents to plugins that are enabled in the scope of a chat. It will then execute your plugins essentially by making API calls. And if your plugin returns successful result, it will use overall generative capabilities to present results to an end users. And with that background, there are several recommendations to follow to make sure that your plugin is selected for execution context. So Copilot is AI tool, and it uses the native language processing capabilities to process your plugin manifest file. So the best recommendation would be to provide really clear description so that Copilot can understand the purpose and the tools that are available as part of your plugin. And also, it will be beneficial for you to provide a description about every single prompt that your users may use. You will not only benefit from better user interaction, but also it will help Copilot to understand what features are available and how people intended to use them. And last but not least is ability to enable the development mode. Copilot is a SaaS platform, so you lack from visibility over internal processes that is happening in the service. So by enabling development mode, you should be able to see entire execution tracing as part of your Copilot plugin execution. One more topic I wanted to cover is declarative agents and API plugins specifically. This type of plugin was released recently. API plugin is yet another interface for teaching your Copilot with new skills that is defined by Open API specification. I would say that you will get the same end result, but in slightly different shape. It has all these same features available, like native support of Microsoft Teams Toolkit, no specific SDK and programming language dependency, support of action confirmations, etc. Here on this slide, I just given you the quick overview and side-by-side comparison between those two extensibility options. And the core of them will be the real-time interactions and bidirectional interactions, because graph connectors for sure are designed to be data retrieval, while the plugins are designed to provide you with the near real-time data interactions. And the last thing I wanted to cover is Microsoft 365 Agent SDK. So this SDK was released just recently, and it provides you with the unified experience to build agent through the different channels that are available as part of Microsoft Bot Framework. So Microsoft 365 Agent SDK is evolution of the bot framework, and you can select different user experiences that are available, so such as Copilot, first-party experience, Microsoft Teams, Telegram, Slack, Twilio, text messages, and more. You can select different knowledge data sources to configure. You have a control over orchestration mechanism through the Microsoft semantic kernel, and you can select different agent intelligence powered by Azure AI Foundry, Agent Service, Copilot Studio, or you can bring your own model and agent. This all available through the C#, .NET, JavaScript, and Python. And the most exciting thing about it is that it has the streamlined access to the Copilot Studio right from your code. And now I wanted to pass it over to Alex, who will be talking about the Copilot Studio.
Thank you, Herman. It was an exciting portion of our presentation where we heard about abilities to extend Copilot functionality with pro-development approach that Herman just described to us. So in cases where maybe we don't have a set of skills of pro-developer, there are other tools available to help us to build custom agents. And agents, this is something that we'll be talking in 2025 and probably 2026 and in a years to come, because agents have potential chance to change the way how we think and interact with software. And Microsoft introduced Copilot Studio as a single-stop end-to-end tool to provide a complete lifecycle for designing, enhancing, and managing agents from single pane of glass. With Copilot Studio, you can create chat experience for your customers and employees that are intelligent, those experiences, they are secure, automated, customizable, and collaborative. And with new features and capabilities that were released in 2024 and has been announced in Microsoft Ignite just a month ago, makers, people who build those agents, will have even more capabilities to build agents and better meet the needs of specific business scenarios. Copilot Studio is a SaaS platform. So Microsoft does all heavy lifting for us by managing infrastructure, by training model, and obviously by securing our agent. But if you want to go extra step and have full custom control over your agent, you can easily do that by integrating with other Azure AI capabilities. There are breadth of capabilities from Azure that you can use with Copilot Studio. For example, you can bring your own custom language model. You can connect to additional knowledge bases. And you also have granular control of the development process. You can integrate image generation with models like DALL-E. And you can customize analytics and telemetry that gets collected when agent is operating. As you know, Copilot Studio is part of Microsoft Power Platform. And with being part of Power Platform, we can gain additional benefits of interoperability and ability to use this low-code business platform. You can build integration with Power Automate to automate across and within your business systems. You can publish your agent within your custom Power App applications. You can also integrate your agent by embedding them into the Power Pages, which is your responsive website. You can leverage Power BI to view custom analytics about your agent operation. And you can integrate with Dataverse to query your low-code and business application projects. All that available because Copilot Studio is part of that ecosystem of Power Platform. So let's look closely on Copilot Studio. It covers full life cycle of agent building from creating your agent and publishing it live. It's also analyzing its performance and continually allow you improve the performance of your agent. Let's take a look at the first part of agent lifecycle, which is building and publishing. So what can you do with Copilot Studio in this particular cycle? You can build your agent the way you want it. Users of all skills level can easily build a customize agent using natural language and low code interface or pro code capabilities if you have those skills. You can leverage templates or as we call pre-built solutions. We can quickly start by choosing from variety of templates designated for common scenarios that are already configured and deployed. So Microsoft already invests in building those templates, and then you can easily pick one of them, and it's going to be your starter point of your agent building experience. You can also transform your business process. You can enable agent to dynamically complete tasks across your line of business applications and services when they prompt by users. You can also unlock organizational knowledge, provide relevant and real-time information to users by connecting agents to your internal and external data sources by extending that knowledge that agent reasoning over. And deployment. Publish agents across multiple channels. It's easy. You can use channels like Microsoft Teams. You can use your agents inside Microsoft 365 Copilot, inside your company website, inside your SharePoint site. So there are multiple channels where agent could be published. And if needed, you can escalate conversation and continue the conversation with full context with end-to-end customer engagement platform. So basically, you can just do the handover from agent to subject matter expert who can answer question for your end user. Microsoft made creating agents incredibly simple. You can now get started simply by chatting with Copilot Studio and describe exactly what you want. Similar in the video that Karen described, showed us where you can start giving instruction to Copilot Builder. In similar way, you can chat with Copilot Studio, provide some instruction. For example, build me an agent that handle customer service for laptops. And please don't provide any pricing information. Or you can say, I would like an agent to provide, for example, HR support for my employees, using information that's stored in internal HR SharePoint site, and additionally leveraging employee handbook file. And with few clicks, you have agents ready to be consumed, grounded with those capability and specifications. Next, you can add more enterprise knowledge to your agent to make agents smarter, to provide specific information about your company, about your processes, about your product. You can specify your company website, specific files, internal SharePoint site. You can also bring structural data that's stored maybe in Dataverse or in Microsoft Fabric or in Graph. So by adding those additional data sources, you extend the knowledge of the agent. So simply point to those data sources with few clicks. You will be able to include those knowledges into the agent that that's list of knowledges that agent can reason over. And at that point, agent is ready to answer a host of user questions and chat over with that particular knowledge. So the generative part of your agent is ready. But in some organization, often we see challenges where we want to have step-by-step specific instruction for business critical processes. So for example, you have specific instructions when a customer needs to make a return or place a purchase order. So in this case, you can supplement generative AI conversation and explicitly specify what you want agent to do. And you can do it with a few clicks by building specific topics inside the graphical interface of Copilot Studio. If user ask about, for example, disability leave, and you can trigger a custom workflow that informs them of their legal rights, it can ask a set of questions and actually create a request and maybe look up eligibility of a user for the specific request and complete it and submit that particular request. So you can have in Copilot Studio both generative and custom dialogues in one system. You can also build plugins and call actions by leveraging your own custom enterprise APIs, those APIs that connected to your backend system. Or you can connect to thousands of pre-built connectors that comes with Copilot Studio. At that point, you're done. You just publish your agent to the channels of your choice. It could be Teams, public website, social media, or you can choose to deploy your agent and be part of Microsoft first-party experience, such as Microsoft 365 Copilot. There is no infrastructure to deploy, no models to train, and your agent is instantly ready for usage by your users. The second part of the agent lifecycle is analyze and improve. So with Copilot Studio, you can analyze agent performance. You can look at how those analytics for specific different steps of agent conversations, and you can automatically track critical API. AI-driven features will help you to fine-tune your agent over time by providing suggestions on how to optimize your conversations. You can also customize your agent with pro development tools. As we discussed, there are availability integration with Azure AI Foundry tools, Azure AI Search, Model Catalog, etc. So now that Copilot is live, and users interacting with it, you can get conversational insights. This is where you can kind of get the signals how your agent performing. And again, it could be done within Copilot Studio. You can see what the generative system is doing, where it's successfully answering questions and where it does not yet have necessary knowledge to respond. And if you see that there are specific areas where system in struggle, you can consider to add additional knowledge. For example, there are a lot of unanswered questions about return policy. Maybe you need to specify specific location where return policy is stored and bring it inside as a knowledge to inside your agent. So you can see that many people seems to end up having a talk to human agent when they're trying to change payment method, and you can get quickly create a topic to handle that particular unanswered question as well. You can even easily connect to Microsoft other conversational AI services. You can fine-tune model with Azure AI Studio and easily use model inside of your agent. Security and governance, important topics for all applications. Agents are now different. Copilot Studio is a global secure SaaS, and it's fully HIPAA and PSI compliant. And most important, it's all built on Microsoft Responsible AI platform that protects your users and systems from harm and provide specific control and with day-to-day operations. In summary, we have a complete single unified SaaS-based experience that can be used for designing, enhancing, and managing agents. Copilot Studio offers a range of building experience to suit your expertise and maximize your impact in the organization. Whether it's no code with a lightweight agent built in M365 chat, with Copilot Builder or Copilot Studio, there are multiple options to build your agent. Low code with the full Copilot Studio experience, one of the on the web to allows you to extend M365 functionality and build your own agents. And it's interesting that Microsoft constantly investing into the that particular experience, into the Copilot Studio functionality, and overall era of agents. Multiple announcement has been made during Ignite about new capabilities of Copilot Studio, and I encourage you to review that information in Ignite book of news. And I'm going to turn it over to Kellen to close us out.
Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate that. And thank you to Herman, Karen, and Jose for joining me today. We have a really incredible team with all the necessary information for Copilot extensibility. So what I really want to go over is, where do we go from here? Where can you take your organization to the next level? And as we know, Copilot is so much more than just flipping a switch. There's a lot of information to assess prior to jumping into extensibility. So whether you're just starting out, getting technically ready and getting leadership on board, whether you're thinking about enabling a small pilot group, or whether you're rolling out the tool to thousands of users, we are here to support you at Valorem Reply Modern Work. And we are very much here to support that adoption and get that underway to help you achieve success from beginning to end of an engagement. From there, we can work with you to understand your extensibility use cases and where you can derive the most value, whether that's through plugins, graph connectors, or Copilot Studio. At Reply, we use the latest ProSci models to ensure successful adoption across your organization. So what does that mean? Well, we have developed a compass framework to help meet you where you are. There are multiple frameworks, of course, to help you get started, but we can always work together to identify a partnership that would help you gain most value and that is specific to your organizational needs. We know that each business is unique, and we've developed a comprehensive approach that allows us to cover all the bases of adoption. And there are many organizations who also might be eligible for acceleration opportunities from Microsoft. So overall, we're here to help you acquire the most out of this partnership. So if you're wondering, when do I start thinking about extensibility, reach out to us. Working with a partner like Reply can help determine those department and organizational value adds that we have discussed today and in the Copilot value journey. Part of that is a core understanding of when your organization should either buy tools and technology or potentially build on what you already have. The beauty of Copilot and its extensibility is that we can maximize both options to increase overall business impact while reducing the development time and overall cost of the tool. It essentially pays for itself. There are a plethora of ways to leverage this tool, and talking to us at Reply can help you find the way that best suits you and your organization. So we have covered quite a lot in a short amount of time. So just as a brief overview, we talked about how we understand Copilot for Microsoft 365 and its inherent value, and then how we can turn up the dial on that value through various methods of extensibility and adoption. And of course, we covered how Reply can help you along the way. So before we get to Q&A, we have a small favor to ask. Valorem Reply offers these sessions free of charge as a part of the Microsoft Cloud Accelerator program for partners to offer do more with Microsoft 365 CSP briefing informational events just like this one. In order to show Microsoft our work, we need our attendees to fill out our survey via this QR code on the screen. It's very quick, takes really, 2-3 minutes. You can use this QR code on the screen or click that link directly on your screen. And when you open the link, you'll need to use the same email address and the company name that you registered for this event with to confirm your identity as an attendee today. Just a heads up, you might encounter questions about your tenant ID, but assuming that we all don't keep that handy, you can use your company URL instead. Also, at some point in the form, you may be asked to select which briefing we delivered or which one that you attended. Today's event is a Get Copilot Ready briefing. So we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to fill out this form and confirm your attendance for today using this QR code or URL that you see on your screen so that we can continue to deliver more events like this and get you this quality information. So we will leave this QR code on screen for you and move into Q&A.
Let's see if anybody has any questions. Now is the time to ask them. I don't see any in the chat so far. Nope. Nobody has any questions. We can wrap up for the day unless you have anything else to say, Colin.
Nope, I think that's really it. I want to say thank you so much to my lovely colleagues that decided to join me today, sharing some incredible information on how we can take Copilot to the next level. If anybody needs our emails here, they are linked with our names on screen. And you can also watch sessions just like this one on demand on our events page. And yeah, please reach out to any one of us today for more information, or if you'd like to help getting started, and stay tuned for our Copilot Newsroom webinar in January. Thank you so much, everybody.